let's talk a little bit about RFK Jr. If Chet has other stuff on this, I want to take a look at it because this is crazy.
And these are a broad category, the ones that Marty mentioned, like ADHD, the neurological disorders, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, and autism. All of these are injuries that I never heard of when I was a kid. They were not part of the nomenclature. They weren't.
Bro, we used to call tuberculosis consumption. Like, you know what autism and like ADHD was called in your day? It was called the Kennedy who we don't acknowledge is in the family. It's called the Kennedy that was sent off to asylum. You freak.
Part of the dialogue. There was zero spent in this country treating chronic disease when my uncle was president. Today it's about $1.8 trillion annually. It's bankrupting our nation. 74% of American kids cannot qualify for military service.
And guess what? They're still meeting their recruitment goals. Like every year, they meet their recruitment goals. You know what they don't meet? They don't meet their increase recruitment goals, where they're like, okay, let's increase it by like 15%. Let's get more people. We need another 9/11, right? They don't meet that. They meet the minimum number every fucking year. Also, what happened to you if ADHD, like ASD, autism, if these are injuries, what in the ever-loving fuck happened to RFK Jr.? The answer is heroin. He's replaced heroin with fucking like aquarium cleaner. RFK Jr. is alive right now. Oh God.
And we need to pay the same attention to this crisis, which is a national security threat and a threat to everything we love about our
Dude, even the camera is shaking.
Country as Vietnam. You know,
oh my God, he's the Kwisatz Haderach. Oh my God. Oh my God, he's the Kwisatz Haderach. He's using the voice.
President Trump was in 3 weeks ago. He met with Claudia Sheinbaum, the new president of Mexico, and he said to her, all of the drugs are coming through your country. Do you have a addiction problem? And she said, no, not really. And he said, why is that? And she said, because we have strong families in this country. And one of the things that addiction is a source of misery. It's also a symptom of misery. And it's a source. It makes the addict miserable, and it makes everybody who he has relationships with miserable. It's also a symptom of misery, of grief, of trauma, of loneliness.
This dude's gonna bring back alley apothecaries. Chatter. It's quiet time in the neighborhood I'm staying in. Don't tempt me to do the RFK impersonation. You're invoking like internet memes and my desire to do the RFK voice right now. Potion seller. I'm looking for your strongest potion. I'm going into battle against vaccines, and I need your strongest potion. You better go to some other potion seller who sells stronger potions. You must work for Pfizer then.
Alienation, of dispossession. One of my favorite quotes from C.S. Lewis is he said, I spend so much time with grief that I spent so much time with anger that I came to know that her name was grief. And all of us have grief in our lives and trauma in our lives. Everybody.
If you play Oblivion Remastered, you should have your character sound like RFK constantly. Going forward, when we are playing games, right? If I have to do the voice for the character, I'm going to get Rhizome to help me make a wheel. And you can use either gifted subs or bits to make me change my character's voice into one of my other impersonations.
And for me, my solution for trauma was I felt like I was born with an empty hole inside of myself. That I had
Not to be confused with the hole in his brain that a worm ate.
Fill it with things outside of myself. And those are the only things that work for me. And every addict feels that way in one way or another, that they have to fix what's wrong with them. And the only thing that works are drugs. And so the threats that you might die, you're going to ruin your life, were completely meaningless to me, because I needed relief from that pain. And I found that in the 12-step program, because 12 steps are about getting rid of isolation, overcoming isolation, and reestablishing our connection to community. And I see each of us as a vessel of godliness.
Oh, God.
And that we're connected to all these different relationships.
Okay, so is he about to get to the point that, like, autistic people are, neurospicy because they've lost their connection to God?
Some of them are very big, like PVC pipes coming into this vessel. Those are our wives, our children, our parents, our aunts, our mothers, our best friends. And then some of them are little tiny pipes, like the guy who gives a finger to me on the street. They're all relationships, and if we're working well...
What is this anecdote? All of these people who are calling me a Nazi on the street, all of these people who are, they're lighting up paper bags full of dog doo-doo on my porch. They need Jesus. They need Jesus in methylene blue.
And there's liquid flowing through that into us, and our job is to amplify it and send it back out to the world. That's God's power. What addiction does is our character defects, our pride, anger, lust, envy, gluttony, avarice, sloth, dishonesty, selfishness, arrogance. We plug up each of those.
You're sheltering autistics under the floorboards, are you not? Jesus Christ, dude, we are in such a dark fucking phase of America. Speakers for the summit that he's at? What the fuck? Let's see. Oh my God. What the... Okay, so we have Rep. Hal Rogers, Republican from Kentucky, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Andrew Clyde, Tony Gonzalez, Nora Volkow, MD, Director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, at the National Institutes of Health, Attorney General Russell Coleman, who just looks confused, just has a look of bewilderment. Who am I? Why am I here? What is that strange, crunchy, biting sound that I'm hearing? Oh, it's just RFK, chewing on balsa wood to prevent the flu, because apparently that's what we have now. That's our cure for seasonal flu, just fucking chew on this piece of fucking balsa wood. Question mark looking ass dude, yeah. Like, the vast majority of the public recognizes, like, this is some horse shit. That's just for the base. That's just for propaganda. Like, it's just going to really fucking annoy people who are otherwise politically disengaged. Well, they'll go, oh, they're just religious, nutcases. Like, they don't really mean it. They're just acting up. No, it's to rile up their base to be down for putting fucking autistic people in camps. What is this? An Imgur link. Prediction: RFK Jr. will start his autism registry. People will be more reluctant to get diagnosed because no one wants to end up on a fucking registry. Autism diagnoses will decrease as a result. RFK Jr. and his ilk will point to the declining numbers and declare victory. Meanwhile, autistic people will continue to exist just as they have always done. But in a backwards moving society with fewer resources and less understanding. Yeah, because this is what every single group outside of a very narrow purview of the idyllic, citizen, American folkish is. That's how it always goes. Because even prior to this, right? even prior to the Trump administration and RFK Jr.'s rise, there are likely way more autistic people, because it is a spectrum. Not just way more, but it is entirely possible that what we describe as neurotypical people may actually be the outlier. We all got a little bit of that dog in us. It's more likely that neuroatypical people are the outlier rather than the norm. Motherfucker just wants to bring back lobotomies. Twitch chatters aren't just on the spectrum, they're riding it like a rodeo bull. True.